Regarding yoga history, I grew up in a family where I observed my father practicing every single morning. I wouldn't say that I was absolutely truly interested at that time. I was curious like a little girl watching behind the door. Why is my father standing upside down? And it is a blessing that I grew up in a joint family where we had 17 family members. And what is beautiful in such a setting is you get to learn from everyone. So I can say that my passive learning, observational learning, started really young. But truly, I met my teacher, my guru, my master at the age of 16. And at the age of 19, I went and lived with my teacher. And I would say that was the time, the real transformation, not just learning intellectually, the real transformation began. And my dear friends, I'm 45 now, and it was at the age of 20 when my teacher commanded me to go and teach. And it will be lifelong or many lifetimes, it doesn't matter. And the last thing that I would say is that I consider myself a student of this subject. So this is my history, my present, and my future. I am a student of yoga. Well, the fact is, I never wanted to be a yoga teacher. I remember that moment when I was 20, and my teacher one day just looked at me and said, "It's time for you to go back and start sharing." You have no idea how I felt in that moment. I was just 20. And my teacher is a giant, someone who is not just talking yoga, living yoga. I did not even know how to open my mouth in front of such a teacher, but it is bigger than me, bigger than my own doubt, my own fears, my own worries. If such a teacher has come into my life, it is my responsibility to pay the debt of wisdom that she shared and many teachers shared so lovingly, so effortlessly. In traditional yoga, the student goes and lives with the teacher, and there is no exchange of fees, there is no terms, how long you will stay, how much you will pay. And one day, when the teacher decides it's all over, and at the end of that, the teacher can ask anything, and that is called Guru Dakshina. It is an unsaid agreement. The teacher shares the essence of their life and many lifetimes with the student. And the student at the end must live to the promise, whatever teacher asks. So, whether it is by writing books or teaching programs or speaking or even Tokyo Yoga, thank you for having me, for giving me the opportunity to continue living my purpose. Why Yoga Nidra is uncommon is because it is an oral teaching. It is something that was passed to the student by the teacher when the teacher thought or felt that the student is ready. And only in the last 2 decades, 20 years, there have been books on Yoga Nidra. Otherwise, the word Yoga Nidra was hidden in so many ancient Vedic texts and tantric texts and Upanishadic texts. It was hidden. It was planted very carefully in a secretive way so that one who is ready can see it, can explore it, can understand it. We are living in very interesting times where we can discuss about it, learn about it. It is a very, very inspiring, interesting time. So don't feel that, oh, why I did not learn about it so far. There is a time in each of our lives when our readiness, physical, mental, emotional, karmic readiness meets the teachings. That is always the right time. That the first sutra, Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, begins with Atha, A-T-H-A, Atha, which means now. It is not bound by time of past, present, future. It is in this moment. So this is the right moment. Think for a moment. What are the 8 limbs of yoga? Yama, niyama. Can you think about it? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Slowly, every limb prepares you for the next stage in yoga. So the yoga of asana, when we learn how to live by the definition of asana, which is not in posing, which is not in performance, which is being able to sit or be in any position comfortably for as long as you decide, not as long as the body decides. So the yoga of movement leads to yoga of stillness. Same for breathing, pranayama. The yoga of movement, here you are moving the breath, leads to the yoga of stilling of breath, which is called kumbhaka. The same next step, pratyahara, the yoga of movement of the senses leads to the redirection of the senses inside. Yoga nidra, among these 8 steps, is a bridge between the last 2 steps, which is dhyana and samadhi. The state of meditation and the state of yoga are joined together by this invisible bridge called yoga nidra. So yoga nidra is the practice that brings us closest to the state of yoga. In meditation, you sit upright to come closest to the state of yoga, that is samadhi. In yoga nidra, you lay down and you try to master what is the most difficult to master, the laziness, the inertia, that tamas, that heaviness, that where it is difficult for the mind to stay focused. But in yoga nidra, you learn how to keep the mind alert and relaxed in a lying down position. So in nutshell, all the yogas, whether it is yoga of asana, of pranayam, of senses, of mind, of emotions, all these yogas of mudras, or mantras, all these yogas prepare you for yoga nidra, and yoga nidra prepares you for yoga. I learned it from my teacher, when I met and lived with my teacher at the age of 19. That is when, traditionally when you learn the subject, things are not taught that now let's study asanas, now let's study pranayam. Everything is taught at the same time. And based on the student's capacity, the student picks up. Of course, the details, the intricacies of it are revealed or shared when the student is ready. But it's not that 20 years later, the teacher is going to tell you that the goal of yoga is yoga, that it is not asana, that it is not fitness, that it is not strength, it is yoga. That was shared right from the very beginning. So I would say that I learned from my teacher at the age of 20, and then I met another teacher by the name Swami Veda Bharati. And I will write down this name in the chat. So I have met several teachers who have then further added depth and richness to my knowledge, but I did not study from books. I studied from teachers. And there is a difference, my dear friends. There is a lot of books on yoga nidra, but a lot of them also confuse it with rest, relaxation, shavasana. But I must add, as much as it is great that there are books, my teacher used to say that yoga is an open secret, which means that there are several books written on it. There are also ancient scriptures, and anyone who can read that language or its translation can understand it. But does it really make them realize it? No, that takes time. And also those teachings are passed from teacher to student, not from book to the student. Trend ends with the last 3 letters, which are end. Every trend ends. One thing is, yoga is not a trend. It is timeless. Second thing is that when something is abstract, we always try to come closer to it through creating tangible means. That is okay. But the problem is when that tangible tool or prop becomes the subject itself. Instead of taking us to the subject, we reduce it, we dilute it, and it's kind of a reductionist approach to think of the tool as the goal. Now, we don't call asana as non-shaky deep stretch, right? Those who have practiced asanas and for a moment even experienced what is asana, you know it is more than stretch. So the short answer is non-sleep deep rest is not yoga nidra. In fact, let me add, yoga nidra is not hypnosis. Yoga nidra is not lucid dreaming either. And yoga nidra is not shavasana. And yoga nidra is not meditation. And yoga nidra is not just a tool to deepen sleep or to work on sleep related issues. The problem is not the rest, that rest is not yoga nidra. Rest is the first step of yoga nidra. The problem here is in non-sleep deep rest, rest is the goal. But in yoga nidra, rest is the step number one. So we can say that deep rest, good sleep, immunity, a sense of peace, emotional balance, these are side effects of yoga nidra. Its biggest benefit and purpose is that it brings you to yourself. And no many times how much, doesn't matter how much we misunderstand or misuse such practices. The loss is not of yoga nidra. The loss is ours. In yoga nidra, the word nidra means deep sleep, the one which is without dreams. Now in deep sleep, when we enter deep sleep, we don't even know we are there. We don't even know which side our head is on the bed. We just wake up, and then because we feel refreshed, we feel energized, we can say that I had a good sleep. We can only talk of it in retrospect, but not in the moment. We cannot say I am having a good sleep. So in the state of deep sleep, all the divisions, all the pluralities, all our conditionings, they dissolve, just like in the state of samadhi. So deep sleep is like passive samadhi. But in yoga nidra, you enter into that sleep with awareness and stay aware so that passive samadhi becomes active samadhi. I definitely think there is benefit of yoga nidra in everyday life, because everyday life we get more and more away from ourselves. There are many different even free yoga nidra scripts that you can read, or audios that you can listen through apps or YouTube, but it is not just a state of rest. Most of the time when people listen to those apps or guided relaxations, they sleep in the first 10 minutes. And that is not the point. The point is how to prepare yourself to stay alert and stay awake throughout the process. And the other thing is, you don't know who is on the other side, my dear friends. My teacher used to say that the practice of yoga nidra is like the deepest and the subtlest of surgeries, where you're going into the layers, physical, pranic, mental, emotional. You're peeling off different layers to go to the self. Now, would you go, if you need a surgery, to a doctor who is doing it for free, or who is going to tell you through instructions recorded on a tape and then you will follow? No, right? We will do research. How much has this doctor practiced? What is the success rate? And are they reading and saying? Are they opening up the book of surgery and then doing the surgery? Or have they understood, practiced, realized, and then sharing? That is the difference between learning from a teacher and learning from just audio instructions, which are mostly not yoga nidra. They are just shavasana. And this class is coming to an end, but I hope that it inspires you to learn about the difference, to know about the difference, and to practice. And everything, whether you're practicing yoga of asana or pranayama, whatever yoga you are practicing, whatever life you are living, it becomes richer, deeper. You become more present with the practice of yoga nidra. So this workshop that is coming up in September, that is going to be think about it, the foundation, the basics, the non-negotiables about Yoga Nidra, Yoga Nidra 101. And in this class, you will learn the historical context, which is very important to learn, which texts talk about Yoga Nidra, and how do each individual prepare, because our bodies are different. Our bodies from Ayurveda standpoint are Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Same kind of practice does not work for everybody. So how do you prepare for something so deep that is Yoga Nidra? You don't just prepare by lying down. You have to do preparations before the preparations. And in this workshop, you will learn how to prepare for Yoga Nidra. And we will also have a guided session of Yoga Nidra. That does not mean all of you will reach Yoga Nidra, but at least you will taste what is the history, what is the purpose, what is a good time to practice, how long to practice, how to prepare for the practice, what to do after the practice. Questions like this we will discuss in the workshop.